Okay, let's talk about Joe Biden possibly dropping out of this race. Most of you know where I stand on this. I think he should drop out. Um, this is not about Joe Biden. It's about the country. It's about defeating Donald Trump. Now, whenever I mention Joe Biden dropping out or being pushed out, I invariably have some people cite polls to me. Now, first of all, there's polls all over the friggin' place. You can find any poll. You can find a poll to support any position you want to take on just about anything. Um, and so I always have people tell me, cite some poll, or not even cite some poll. They usually just tell me what the polls say, which is even more dubious than citing the polls. I mean, people are just pulling this stuff out of their asses. Anyway, they'll tell me that, Joe Biden does better against Trump than any other Democrat. Or they'll say that these other potential Democrat candidates aren't doing any better against Trump than Biden is, so might as well stick with Biden. All right, let's just assume that generally speaking, that's true. That's not the point. It's not about the polls. If we're going to believe the polls as being predictive, like those numbers are the numbers and that's what they're going to be, well, then Joe Biden's going to fucking lose anyway, right? The polls are going to shift. They're going to have to shift if Joe Biden has any chance of winning. The polls are just a snapshot. They're not predictive of the end result in November. But so there's going to be fluidity to these polls. They're going to move. That's the purpose of a campaign, to convince people, right? Here's the issue. Here's why Joe Biden should drop out. Because he is the person who is least well positioned to make those polls change in the Democrats' favor. Because he is completely unable to campaign. He is completely unable to make the case against Donald Trump. I have said a million times that there has been no candidate in American political history who has more to use against them than Donald Trump. Twice impeached, all these crimes, raped a woman, guilty of fraud, guilty of sexual assault, guilty of defamation, all of this stuff incites a riot against the American people, an insurrection against his own government. All of this stuff, okay? There is so much to use against this man, and yet Joe Biden has, up until now, been completely unable to do it. Any other candidate would do a better job of making the case against Donald Trump than Joe Biden is able to do. And that is the reason he should be dropped, right? That is the reason he needs to drop out or be forced out if he doesn't voluntarily go. He just cannot make the case against Donald Trump. He's not able to make the case against anybody. The man is barely coherent. Can we just come to grips with reality here? Okay, this is not a knock on him. He's old. It's going to happen to all of us. But the man has aged incredibly over the last 4 years. His decline has been precipitous. I personally don't even think the man will be alive in 4 years. And if he is, he's going to be a fucking vegetable. All right? Can we just be honest about where this man is? He's unable to do this job. Okay? He cannot campaign. He cannot make the case against Donald Trump. If you want to defeat Donald Trump, we need to pick someone else.